welcome back to Good Day Stateline. 2021 has been a huge year for Britney Spears, but she's not totally free yet. Right?
She's free from her dad.
She's free from her dad, which is excellent news. Tim Mahoney is back, of course, to talk about it. And, you know, I try to tell everyone, please watch the Baby One More Time music video. This is my most TV-appropriate Britney Spears Halloween costume. It's the only one that exists.
My Halloween costume is I dressed up as a lawyer.
Yes,
so here we are.
Which fits also in this story.
So Dad is now officially out.
Yes.
And you know, Dad said a whole bunch of things and changed his tune, then tried to resign. And the judge came in and said, no, you're suspended as guardian. For the first time, the judge finally got to make a decision.
Sure.
And she made a very affirmative decision that you're out. So Dad has been suspended, and an accounting, so the guardianship still exists. That hasn't gone away. But a lot has happened in the last 8 months. So for the first time, Britney came out and said that she objected to the guardianship. That's the first we ever heard that. For the first time, she actually filed a petition to terminate the guardianship, which was done this past summer when she hired her new lawyer in July, which that was also a first because that was the first time the court determined that she could, in fact, hire her own lawyer.
Right.
Prior to that, there was a determination she wasn't even fit enough to do that, and the court appointed a lawyer. So the lawyer that she hired, as we've covered, is very aggressive. He's very out in the media. He's a very, you know, LA kind of approach. And obviously his aggression has resulted in outcomes. So there's 15 petitions currently pending in her guardianship. And he has said that he's going to sue Dad for misappropriation, for inappropriate activity under the terms of the guardianship, that he was spying on Britney, recording her. Dad's attorney has actually even responded to that and said, well, the recording her attorney knew about, the guardian ad litem knew about. I mean, some of that stuff was part of what we were doing just to monitor and make sure that she, you know, because remember, a lot of this came out of her being influenced by somebody.
Yeah.
So in order to protect that doesn't happen. So that's all got to get fleshed out. But what's happened now is the court has suspended Dad. He's no longer guardian of either the person or the, I keep saying guardian, conservator of either the person or the estate.
Well, isn't it guardian in Illinois?
It's guardianship in Illinois.
So that's kind of, that's where that's coming from.
In California, it's conservatorship. Yeah. Same thing, just different name. They agreed on an accounting firm to be the conservator for the estate. And that's a big deal because it's $60 million is her net worth roughly. So you got to be able to be bonded for that. You probably double that amount. You know, so not easy to say, oh yeah, I can pony up 120 million. Of course, if you invested in Bitcoin, you're probably good to go. So now the court has also moved up the court dates for this fall and said there's going to be a decision as to whether or not her guardianship is terminated before the end of the year. And we're in uncharted territory. I mean, this isn't normally how conservatorships and guardianships work. Normally it's for an adult with developmental disabilities who's likely not to improve in that situation, or it's for an elderly person that's got dementia, Alzheimer's, something like that.
Usually it's lifelong.
Right. Usually once the conservatorship or the guardianship is done, it stays into that situation. We're going to have a situation where, first of all, it was very unique that a young person who's not a person with disabilities ended up in a conservatorship, and then they're going to, you know, kind of graduate from the conservatorship maybe. There's even a, you know, Britney has taken the position, and her lawyer, and now her dad, not that her dad is super relevant anymore, but that she doesn't even need an evaluation, that she should just, the conservatorship could just go away. I would be surprised if the court does that, doesn't have some type of evaluation before getting rid of the conservatorship for her person. But what the court might do is say, you know, she's objecting to the conservatorship. She's not yet objected to the current conservator for her person. That's somebody that she kind of selected.
Yeah.
So maybe the judge says, you know what, I'm going to get rid of the conservatorship for the estate, but I'm going to leave these people on as kind of an advisory panel for you. That's pretty common for celebs and people like that to do that anyway, that, you know, somebody else is running the money and they kind of advise you as to how.
It's a lot for one person to handle.
Well, and remember, like, you know, back when we used to move around, you know, like, let's say you're a baseball player, we got the World Series going on. Every state that you play a game in, you have to file a tax return in that state and claim what you made during that period of time as income. And you also get your expenses for that period of time. So they just use a credit card for everything. And if you go play in Canada, you got to file up there. If you're in the NFL and you go over to London and you play, you got to file a tax return there. So if she starts touring again, everywhere that you go, you got to file a tax return in all one of those states. If you go to Brazil, you got to file. So it's pretty complicated. So it's pretty typical that you have a board of advisors. So maybe the court does something like that and leaves the conservatorship of her person with the person that she's not objecting to. I don't know. I think this judge is going to make a decision before the end of the year.
Okay.
Then we're not even close to being done because we've got all of these petitions that her attorney has filed with regards to how the prior conservatorship was managed.
Sure.
And that's all got to be fleshed out. And it sounds like Dad's going to get sued, which, you know, quite honestly, Dad did not make a ton of money being the conservator. He paid himself like $130,000 a year or $150,000 a year. She can just outspend it at this point if she wants. I mean, I'm sure this person that she's hired does not come cheap. And my guess is this is the only case that he's working on right now. So
that's a good guess.
I'm sure that there's a lot of money. So the real thing that happened is she has stood up for herself. Her dad's gone. And these questions, you know, as I've said many times when you and I have had a chance to talk about this, these questions are getting asked. And this is a case that's being watched by lawyers across the country. We're all watching and going, okay, if this comes up again, which it's probably gonna, how do we handle this?
Right.
How does the court adapt to do this? Courts are not proactive, they're reactive.
So despite the fact that, you know, she has, you know, her dad is gone, there's still more to talk about. Who knows, maybe next time you're on, we'll keep talking about it. Mahoney'sGotYourBack.com if you need Tim. And we are taking you to RMTD next with a long list of events they have coming up, and then it's game day with the Discovery Center. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
The preceding segment was sponsored by Mahoney and Mahoney.